In one of our previous videos, we saw how you can integrate MCP client and server to your production grade application just by exposing the endpoints from it to make it available to the user so that they can use the AI chatbot to interact with your application endpoints. In this video, we will take a slightly different approach. Instead of using MCP client, we will be using something called as LM Studio, which is an inference engine similar to what we saw in the previous video with like Llama. Without any further ado, let's get started. Say if you're already working on a web-based application, you might already have introduced endpoints for your users to access. Say it be a single page application, or it could be a plain vanilla JavaScript wherein you might have the REST API calls to call your backend endpoints. So you already have them. You might be running okay in the production environment. So now if you are thinking of like bringing in LLM support to your users, you might be wondering like, hey, how would I make use of the data that is available in my database or like in the file system or even in the blob storage or somewhere else, right? So how will you make sure the data is available to the LLM as similar to how they would go interact with your UI pages? How can you do that? So that's where MCP comes into the picture. You will have the MCP client and the MCP server. MCP client is where you would tag the LLM feature, wherein tools are where you would connect those endpoints that you already have exposed in the REST API. Consider tools as like kind of a REST API for the LLM to understand. The LLM is the client here, and the server where you are running the tool would be the MCP server, and the MCP server who can internally talk to a different service that you might already have exposed. So this way it is easy for you to get the context of your application, and also the LLM would have like a pre-trained model which is good at English or whatever language that the model that you are using. Based on the description that you provide to the tool, the LLM is smart enough to figure it out what the user question is, which tool it needs to use, making it a real good AI agent for your application. If you think about building a lot of these AI agents in a similar fashion, you get something like an agentic AI wherein it with a single prompt such as, hey, could you book a trip for me? So it is going to figure it out like what are all the tools behind the scenes, and then it is going to book a trip. Being said, the next thing to do is like download the LM Studios. So the LM Studios is an inference engine, as I said before. It's similar to Ollama. Like it gives us a nice UI wherein we can alter the temperature, modify the context, how much of the CPU and like what percentage of CPU could use. All of these settings are something that you could change from the UI. In case of Ollama, it's all command line, so you will have to type in the temperature and all those stuff like in the as in a parameter to the command. So here you have the chat window wherein they can type in and then add in tools as such. And they also have the context, so they can set the preset, save the presets, and they also have like the model. Before getting into it, I will go back and see the developer settings in here. Then similar to Ollama, it also has a server that is internally running, and that's gonna run on 1234, the port 1234 I mean. And then you also get decent logs as if like you would get for an application. So you can also access these endpoints and just list out the models. So these three are post. So if you want to make a post call and then get the completion out of it, you can still do it directly. And then you also have like this info wherein you can see like what kind of model that you have loaded. You will have to select the model to load them first to it to be available. Preset is a way you can specify a set of system prompts to it. You can say, hey, the bot name is Surya, and then you can specify that as a system prompt, so that if some user asks, who are you, then it's gonna infer it as Surya and then talk to the user. This temperature slider controls the randomness. Higher the setting is going to be more diverse, and the lower the setting is going to be deterministic. So setting it around like 0.8 would give a right balance between them. So you can select these sort of items and save it as a preset, which you can upload and pull it later, or like you can share it with a different user as well. Case sampling is a way to decode what would be the next probable text token that needs to be selected. You also have the output structure that you're looking for, so you can specify the schema down in here. In the load, it provides the context length and the number of layers that you want to offload. Some specific models, they are huge and they might not fit into your video RAM provided the size of it, so in which case offloading helps you to offload a few of the layers to the CPU so that it can use your own computer RAM. This is only applicable for PC, wherein you have like the VRAM and RAM separately, wherein in case of you are using Apple Silicon, then they are combined as part of your unified memory. And here you can select the list of models that you wanna explore, and then you can easily change the directory. If you are running out of space in your disk, you can offload it to SSD or like NAS for that matter. And then you can specify you can download the list of models that you are trying to run, and this particular model that I am running on right now is like OpenAI GPT OS that supports tools, and it's quantized to 4 provided the size of my GPU. Yet another thing is like, why I'm not using the models that are available in the internet, like say chat GPT, and then use just the API in the Spring application directly in the properties, or wiring it there. So the idea is, if you are working in a work setup, you might not be allowed to use the chat GPT or like Gemini for that matter, or even Grok, based on where you are working, right? So if that's the case, you might have to end up running your local model on your own machine, or like on the HPC or whatever that your company provides, in which case you might end up running a Llama CPP directly, or you might have like something similar to Ollama or LM Studios, wherein LM Studios internally it's gonna use a Llama CPP. And then here you can discover all the models that you might be looking for. All of these models are going to get downloaded from Hugging Face, and you might have to see the licensing information and figure it out what works best for you at your workplace. And then here it specifies the runtimes for it, and then the hardware settings which you might need. So if you're looking for an option similar to running like Ollama, then it also offers a headless start. Now, being said all of these, now let's try to run our Spring Boot application and get the MCP server running as well, so that we have our tools exposed. And then once our tool gets exposed, we just need to plug that into LM Studio. So we will just check the endpoint just to make sure of the SSE is working. One thing to notice is currently Spring AI doesn't support streamable HTTP, which it will support down the line. Probably it's targeted as part of like 1.1 Spring AI release. We will look into it like more once the milestone gets released. Under the hood, the Spring AI is gonna use the Java MCP SDK, which is part of the Spring AI bill of materials. I could see that like it got already updated, so perfectly like enough in a couple days. I think this should be out soon as well. And then if you notice here, we will have to have this integration for, if at all, if you are using different sort of integration tools from provided by your application, say for example SQL or Postgre, you can use the tool specifically. It's similar to how you would have the tools exposed in the Docker desktop. Now let's type in some queries asking questions about our product and see how well they respond. Name chat, let's type in what are the name of products available in the inventory. So I just need to load the model. So I will just load this OpenAI GPT 20 billion. I have downloaded it earlier, so I will just click on it, and then we'll have to make sure this is turned on. So if this is turned off, it will not have any information about the tool itself, isn't it? It's trying to generate the results. So it said like it doesn't know where the inventory is, so that's the reason we would need to now plug in the tool. So let me turn this on and then show the same question again here, right? Show the same question again in here. So now it's gonna prompt like you can configure it like one at a time or the whole thing, and then click on proceed or deny like whatsoever. So in this case I will just leave it as is, and then it has figured it out. It needs to figure it out from the inventory. Let me see if it is giving me the names. Say it's trying to get the rest of inventory. The inventory in our case will not return the product names, so it will just return the product ID. So it is able to cleverly call the product tool and then get the name out from it. Very well, there you go. Obviously if you use a beefier server, you would get a better response in terms of like speed and agility. In this case it's just an experimenting working with my local machine, so it is okay. In your case it might differ. This way you can write your own tools connecting to your endpoints, the already existing endpoints. And if you do not want to build a chat client for your users specifically, then you can use this approach, which is quite handy. In case of Ollama, you cannot do that. In case of LM Studio, it provides you a chatbot, and then these preset options help you customize it, making it a little bit easier. Say this would be a right thing if your user, if you do not want to build UI to your product owner or your business analyst, and if they want to interact with your application, LM Studio could be a better choice. But in case if you are developing an application wherein you want the AI agent functionality, then the preferred approach is like to put a chatbot in your application UI, wherein you can let it talk to the AI client as we did in the previous example. The choice is yours, and it's up to us to decide where we want to use which tool. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.